Hello and welcome to LFC Focus. It is post-match reaction showtime after Liverpool have weathered one of the maddest storms we've ever seen in a football match to book our place in the knockout stages of the Champions League after a game that was rather crazy for about 60 minutes and then for the last half hour, very, very nice and breezy once Liverpool finally managed to get a stranglehold on the game and once certain players finally managed to remember where the goal was and did so in absolutely fantastic style. But before we talk about the goals that won the tie for Liverpool and put us through to the knockout stages, let's talk about that first hour and what a strange first hour it was. And I think the men of those moments for me were Virgil van Dijk and Alisson Becker. You know, time and time again, we don't really see what we really know those players can give us because of how good this Liverpool team is, because they're never really put under any serious pressure. Virgil van Dijk is one of, if not actually, yeah, let's go for it. He's the best centre-back in the world by an absolute mile at the moment. And Alisson Becker has got the trophies to back up that he is the best goalkeeper in the world at the moment as well. And they don't get to show that often because they're not very often put under too much pressure. But I think Alisson really earned his stripes today. He showed why Liverpool paid that 65 million quid for him about a season and a half ago. He made so many big saves, especially very early on in the game. He makes that double save where, again, it's kind of, you can make the argument that both shots were straight at him. This is the chance that was in like the first 5 minutes where Salzburg tried to shout that maybe it was a handball from Jordan Henderson. It turns out both times it hits the arms of Alisson Becker, but both times he makes himself big, he gets his arms in the right places and he holds himself strong. He keeps that position and forces the striker to basically blink first and put the ball into his arms. He does it on that arm, I think, the first time, and then the shot comes in again and he saves it with that arm. It's absolutely fantastic when the entire defence was, I think it's fair to say, just crumbling around him, and the game was threatening to just completely fall into disarray with Liverpool having no control over it whatsoever. Alisson Becker, whenever he needed to, he came up trumps for Liverpool today and he helped us get through this tie, especially during those difficult early stages. And the same has to be said of Virgil van Dijk as well. I think he gave Dejan Lovren the job of dealing with Erling Haaland for most of the game. It was generally a battle between those two, although I thought Erling Haaland's movement was absolutely fascinating in those early stages of the game. The way he would drop out wide, he would never kind of assign himself to one Liverpool player. He never tried to get into that kind of endless physical battle, because sometimes, you know, the disadvantage that you then gain as an attacker is that the centre-back can work you out. They can work out your movement, how to stop you and stuff like that. Instead, he would occasionally track out and try and deal with one of the midfielders, try and put some pressure on Trent Alexander-Arnold, which also means that Dejan Lovren never knows whether to follow him or to stay with his position and stuff like that. So I thought Erling Haaland caused us some real problems, but Liverpool shut him down very, very well, and Dejan Lovren's job was mainly to handle him, while the other two attackers, the wingers for Red Bull Salzburg, were handled by Virgil van Dijk, and I thought they were handled absolutely brilliantly. Virgil van Dijk basically took one look down, up and down both of them, and thought, I'm way stronger than you, and essentially all he needs to do is a little bit of a shoulder barge, and if both players are moving at speed, then the Red Bull Salzburg player will go absolutely flying, because Virgil van Dijk is just that strong. And I think this game was really testament to what we'd learned from that game at Anfield, and that doesn't mean we're perfect, that doesn't mean we dominated Salzburg, that doesn't mean we didn't suffer some of the same issues that we did in the 4-3 game at Anfield, but I think when we did come under pressure, when they did start to cause us problems, we knew how to deal with it a lot better, and that is reflected in the scoreline, and most importantly, reflected in the fact that Liverpool kept a clean sheet. You know, obviously, I think we had a bit of a laugh at Alisson Becker's expense after the weekend when he was posting on Instagram and everything, you know, glory be to God for getting that first clean sheet of the season, despite the fact that he didn't really have a save to make. I think he's earned about 5 clean sheets in one game tonight with the way he played and the amount of saves he made, and also, you know, some of his distribution and the way he'd sweep up at the back as well. It wasn't just the saves, it was the way he gathered up through balls. He'd come out of his box sometimes to head the ball away and stuff like that. It was the complete, I'm not going to say the complete goalkeeping performance, I'm going to call it the complete Alisson Becker performance, because it wasn't your average goalkeeper performance. He did more than what you'd want from your goalie. He came out and covered the spaces in a way that most goalies, or at least goalies at lesser clubs, just wouldn't be able to do, or would be at least a little bit too scared to do. So I thought he was fantastic in that opening hour, and the same with Virgil van Dijk. I think the pair of them helped to ensure that even when Salzburg were causing us problems, we had the answers to those issues, and we could keep ourselves in the game ready for when the attackers finally came to the party, because it's fair to say that some of our attackers, Mo Salah in particular, did not have a great 60 minutes at the start of the game. He was missing chance after chance after chance. The others weren't doing too better, and I guess you can give them credit for the fact that they were creating opportunities in the first place, and that's why I never felt too worried. You know, if we hadn't been creating those chances, then that would have been a real concern. But with players like Mo Salah and Sadio Mane in the side, you know that even if they miss a few chances, you can almost bank on them scoring at some point, and score they did, or at least in Mane's case, set up they did, as he creates that first goal for Liverpool. It's a wonderful little bursting run to get round the defence, forcing the goalkeeper into a rather bizarre action. I think it's fair to say, you know, Mane just leaves the defence for dead, to the point where the goalie thinks, well, I've got to come out here, because otherwise he's just got the freedom of that side of the pitch to get as close to the goal as he possibly wants. And that's exactly what Sadio Mane wants him to do, because he dinks that ball into Keita. It's perfectly placed. I've got no idea if Sadio Mane even checks to see if he's there, or whether it's just a matter of these Liverpool players having a borderline telepathic understanding going forward now, because they are just so well drilled by the coaching staff, and they enact the vision of the coaching staff so perfectly on the pitch. But it's a fantastic ball from Sadio Mane, and a really good header from Naby Keita as well. It's not like it's an open goal. Yeah, the goalie's gone off to buy some crisps, but there's about 3 defenders getting back and trying to stop the ball going in, and one of them very nearly does. It's quite smart from Keita. He heads it against the momentum of a defender who's tracking across the goal, which means that he simply can't, the ball falls behind him, and he's got no way of actually even sticking out a leg and getting a touch that would stop it going in. It was a fantastic header from Naby Keita. That is what a player like him offers you. It's really great to see him hitting some sort of form now. I banked on him starting the game in the pre-match video. I thought Jurgen Klopp would put his faith in him after that great performance against Bournemouth. And of course, with this being on his former home turf, it's a great chance for him to make a statement and show how far he has come, and show that he's got what it takes in Liverpool shirt. That was my big thing going into the match. And he's really shown it, you know, while he wasn't necessarily running the show from minute 1 to minute 90. What a player like Keita does offer you is goals. And sometimes Liverpool have needed that from their midfield. In the past, it's all come from the front 3. And when they misfire, we do end up in a spot of bother. So having someone who plays a little bit deeper, but is willing to get into the box, is willing to get into goal scoring positions, create chances and take those chances for Liverpool, and score important goals as well. It's not like he was scoring a goal to make it 4-0 to Liverpool. He puts us 1-0 up. That's a huge goal in our season. If Liverpool go on to go far again in the Champions League, and fingers crossed maybe even win it once again, then we can look back at that Naby Keita goal as a real catalytic moment that kept our campaign going, that kept us pushing, and will hopefully keep our momentum going in the league as well. In the meantime, going down into the Europa League would have been a blow. You can argue all you want about how, you know, it would have given us more time to prepare for Premier League games as we get into the run-in and stuff like that. But these players, they feed off success at the moment. They're feeding at the moment off the fact they are European champions. They're still riding that wave both in the league and in Europe, and it's important we keep that going. And Naby Keita has just been integral to keeping that wave as high as it is at the moment. So that was a great goal. Really good play from Liverpool's forwards. And then the second goal, absolutely sublime. I mean, Mo Salah was clearly hell-bent on scoring worldies and worldies only tonight. After missing about 4 clear-cut chances, all on his stronger foot as well. Turns out all he had to do was get on his weak foot from an impossible angle and score an unbelievable goal to put the tie beyond Salzburg. I mean, there's one shot that in a way I love, and in a way I feel quite bad for the guy, where you see Mo Salah celebrating in the distance with the rest of the team, and in the foreground, Erling Haaland, who's just been chucked a bottle of water during the break, absolutely slams it to the floor, because he knows that Mo Salah has finished Red Bull Salzburg off right there and then. I mean, I could talk all day about the goal. It's absolutely fantastic. I think it's Henderson who plays the ball as well. What a run of form that guy's in at the moment. You know, he's basically, I think he maybe has read some tweets that said that Henderson only passes backwards, and he's decided to put that to bed once and for all with these beautiful raking balls forward that take out about 10 players from the game and leave a striker with so much space and time to score goals. And Mo Salah took it with aplomb. The way he goes round the goalkeeper, I'm not sure what the goalie was doing for that 100 seconds. He had an absolutely mad couple of minutes there. But Salah takes it round the goalie, and the goalie must be thinking, and the defender as well, it's all right, we've forced him wide, he's going to have to check back in onto his stronger foot. But no, Mohamed Salah somehow on his weaker foot, with the ball curling away from the goal as well. I think the angle is almost deceptive in terms of how wide it looks, because when you see by the time the ball actually hits the net, it's essentially running parallel to the goal line, because the way Salah hits it with his weaker foot, with that right foot, it's always going to be curling away from the goal, so he's got to get it absolutely right, and it almost shaves the inside post as it goes in, and then almost goes in off of the far post as well. That's how good the strike was. It was pinpoint accurate, and people are already talking about and comparing it to that goal Divock Origi scored against Bournemouth a few seasons back, where it was from a similar angle, but this time Mo Salah, it was a tighter angle on his weaker foot, and the speed he's going at as well. He's got no time to set himself there, no time to actually check the goal and work his angles and stuff like that. He's just got to hit it at full speed, at full sprint, and we know how fast Mohamed Salah is at full sprint, and hit it with his weaker foot, curl it in against the curl of the ball, across the goal line and in, and that is Salzburg done and dusted, and that was Liverpool through to the knockout stages. And it was, in some ways, it was the complete Mohamed Salah performance because of that. You know, at times at Liverpool, he has been frustrating. So many times he's been brilliant, and he was brilliant once again tonight, but sometimes he just doesn't quite have his shooting boots on. But you can always rely on him, like I said, with Sadio Mane, with Roberto Firmino, with so many players in this side. Even when they're not playing their best, they are still capable of moments of absolute genius. And once again, Mo Salah has delivered the goods. Naby Keita has helped deliver the goods as well. And Liverpool are through to the knockout stage of the Champions League. They've ridden and weathered the storm absolutely fantastically. I think we did so well in those early stages to combat the Salzburg flow. I thought they were absolutely fantastic, by the way. All credit to them. They were brilliant at times today. Their pressing was almost as good, if not potentially even better than Liverpool's has been for most of our time with Jurgen Klopp as manager. The way they know when to chase down the ball. They know when a pass was going to be let go by a player. They'd watch the way the ball was bouncing, the ball was moving, whether it was off the ground or on the ground, and know whether a player was going to take a heavy touch. And based on that, players would be pressing, Liverpool players, before they'd even touch the ball, because they knew they were going to have a heavy touch. They knew the ball was going to be up for grabs. It wasn't going to be trapped, and they'd be able to press, win it back, and then catch us on the counter and stuff like that. They were so well drilled, and, you know, kudos to their coaching staff. Kudos to Jesse Marsch. He's built an absolutely fantastic football team there, and if it wasn't for the fact that Liverpool were playing against them, I'd love watching them. And I'd really want to see them through to the knockout stages. But at the end of the day, I want to see Liverpool through. And that is exactly what's happened tonight. Hopefully we see more of Salzburg in more seasons to come, because they are absolutely brilliant. I'm sure we'll see more of Erling Brot or Haaland again, or Haaland even. But for now, it's Liverpool who are through. I'm absolutely chuffed with the performance. The last half hour was a little bit of a procession, which is very nice, considering we've got yet another football match in just 4 days' time with that game against Watford at the weekend. But until then, let's revel in the fact that once again, we're in the knockout stages. We're ready to defend our European crown. I reckon we can really take this far again this time. Now we're out of the group stages. This is bread and butter for Jurgen Klopp. This is what he absolutely loves. He's never been knocked out of Europe while he's been Liverpool manager. He loves these two-legged ties against big teams. He knows how to win those kind of matches. He knows how to push us through all the way to the final. I reckon we can get that far again. Let me know how far you think we're going to go down in the comments below. Apart from that, that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, as always, you know what to do. Hit the like button down there. Hit that subscribe button there if you're new around here. Check out some of the other videos that have been out on the channel over the past few days. Don't forget to follow at SALLIV's Focus TV on Twitter. And I'll be back soon with the pre-match content for that game against Watford. Until then, bye for now.